I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the flashback, and then we're going to go to breakout sessions. So the idea is this 80-20 rule, which is the reason why it's very difficult for all people to be great traders and to develop a successful trade strategy. Psychology. And the first trade is your psychological trade, and it's all about changing yourselves to be that more successful trader mindset, but also changing to the changing environment. So think about your beliefs and values vis-a-vis trading, risk, and money, and the so-called I am statements that you will use, which will ultimately decide not only what your trading performance will be, but also what kind of life you're going to live. So I am a bad trader. I am fearful of risk, uncertainty, failure. I am not making enough money to trade and invest. I hear that many times. People that do have money, people that don't have money. That perception of money is quite important in the trading game. The I am statement is kind of similar to this picture here. Remember the story I told you about one of my past clients who was actually overconfident. So he was the lion looking in the mirror and seeing an even bigger lion versus the norm, the kind of young, early stage trader, not having the confidence, having a self-sabotage program going on in their head, which usually impedes their success. So it's really important to be very aware of the program you're running in your head with the so-called I am statements. What are you saying to yourself? And so a quick strategy I was recommending to everyone was to actually engage in I am statements first thing in your morning as part of as a routine to pulse check with yourself and listen to the level of confidence that you have. Maybe it's overconfident, maybe it's underconfident, whatever it needs to be. Pulse checking and finding that sweet spot. Sounds a little bit crazy, and some people kind of say, not for me. Others say, hey, isn't that fake it until we make it? Call it what you will. But the more you practice this, the better realization you will have about what type of trader you want to be. That's all part of the road to transformation as part of a 3-stage process: awareness, change, transformation. Most of my work begins with the awareness part because people don't know what they don't know. And that is the whole understanding of nature and nurture, understanding the things that you were born with, but then also understanding how the environmental influences will change certain things for you. And then ultimately, as you gain a meaningful level of awareness, you can then start to focus on change and transformation strategies. That's the long and short of it. On the change side, remember, it's behavioral modeling, risk optimization, various neuroscience modalities, and a whole bunch of other things that I encourage you to consider. But ultimately, whatever you decide works for you, you need to do it. And then you need to do it over a sustained period of time, which is why the one-to-one performance coaching service that we've launched is a minimum of 3 months, because anything less isn't going to yield meaningful results. And actually, it's usually more, but 3 months is kind of like a good enough period to trial and test the results, and then decide where you want to go from there. So just think about the gym experience. Calling up the fitness coach and saying, I want to transform my body in a week or in a month, ain't going to happen. Usually it's 3 months or more. And obviously the same thing for trading, if not more. Now, the great metaphor is stages of conscious awareness when a baby is learning how to crawl. I don't know if any of you have young kids around. Gavin, you're here with us here now. How old's your newborn baby?
Yes, good, thank you, Ron. Good, thank you. He's, I believe he's 10 weeks old now. 10 weeks old. He's fast asleep upstairs, so he's doing.
But you have 2 other children, Gavin, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay. How long did it take for them to learn how to walk?
Lara was the fastest. She's my eldest. I think it was between 10 to 12 months he started to walk. Leon, the next boy, Yeah, so he was the slowest so far. So I don't know about Ruben, how quickly it will be for him. But Leon, I think it was something close enough to oh, over a year, so a year and about 3 months, possibly.
Okay, beautiful. And so, celebrate the fact that, in the end, they went through that process, and I'm sure they're running around the house as we speak.
Mm.
Um, and your newborn will take the time that is needed. But the point is, different people will take different times along that learning curve, and the joke, the tongue-in-cheek joke, is which parent is going to impatiently look at his or her child and say, okay, it hasn't worked for 3 months or 6 months, just let's give it up. You just carry on crawling. No point learning how to walk. Don't worry, you just miss out on a lifetime of walking or running. It doesn't happen, right? And I can only kind of crack that joke with Gavin because I think he's one of the few parents here online. But you can use whatever metaphor works for you. Um, Worthwhile things in life take time. And I don't mean to kind of take away from what Mike was saying about the fast track insight from Elon Musk. You can fast track worthwhile things in life and get it faster than if you were to take the long road. But the point is, you still have to do the hard work. The hard work, there's no shortcut to hard work. So either way, you do the hard work, you just decide whether you do it quickly or short form or long form. And the key point here is not giving up. But in understanding about this idea of not giving up something that you haven't quite got the grasp of, you need to understand that there are stages of awareness. And stage one is unconscious incompetence. You are unaware of the skill and you lack the proficiency. You don't know what you don't know. Don't beat yourself up. You're learning something for the first time. You're going to take the time that it's going to take to just start at a starting line. Conscious incompetence, you are aware of the skill, but you are not yet proficient. So the baby kind of has learned how to crawl. It's able to now step on 2 feet, but it's still falling over. Conscious incompetence, you are able to use the skill, but with effort, it struggles. I haven't been in my fitness regime now for about a month. I had a minor accident. Kind of, you can raise your emotional heart my way. it's been a roller coaster ride for me, recovering, and I can tell you it's been an effort. Going uphill, whether I'm walking and going for a jog, I've been out of breath, and I just haven't been hitting my my usual fitness goals. So that extra effort is required. And then finally, unconscious competence. At your peak, you're just shit hot. You know that you are. It doesn't mean that you're going to make money all the time, but you just know how to get in the zone. You know when you're out of the zone, and ultimately, you know what you need to do to stay on track. And that's ultimately the elite trader. That's the turtle. That's the successful turtle trader that wins out more often than not. And remember, this is based on a 51% win-loss ratio, according to how I like to teach it. So you're not going to get it right all the time, even if you're shit hot. But out of the 51% time, onus on the 51%, so it's that 1% differential of a trading edge, that you do still need to be in the zone and have this unconscious competence where you're performing the skill automatically. And so here I recommend doing a whole lot of trade simulation work where you're watching the tape daily and at the very least weekly, but definitely doing the psychological work routinely just to make sure that you are where you need to be. So quick point there. There's a whole lot that I previously went into about the way that the mind works in terms of managing stress. I won't go into that now. Watch the video for more information, but do know that your mind will take control of your logical decision-making process when it's under stress. It's an ancient program that still runs in the modern world and actually gets triggered more now than it did then because we have way more noise now in terms of all kinds of stuff. Case in point, pandemic and lockdown is an obvious example. There are that's kind of nature. There's also personality temperaments that we all have, and I briefly introduced you to the a psychological assessment tool called Myers Briggs, which subdivides into these quadrants based on how you process energy, information, decisions, and organization. You'll be assigned a letter from each of these areas, and it will say something about your psychological temperament. Try not to use this as a black labeling exercise or jail sentence. Unfortunately, many people do that. The interview that I had with Dr. Van Tharp suggests the following attributes as being the most important for a successful trader: NTJ. I won't go through it because I need to focus on the breakout sessions now. But just be aware of that. You can run the tests. I have given you that bonus opportunity to actually do the test, a self-assessment for yourself, and the link is in there. The deeper dive work will be during one-to-one coaching once you've completed the 3-month flagship course with Alphachain. And do keep in mind that it's not just your temperament, it's also the skills that you bring to the table, like your commitment level, willing to work on yourself, and then some of the skill related stuff like being good at math, stats, probabilities, and strategy type games. These are some of the insights that were shared by Dr. Van Tharp. Okay, now just to end, where we left off last week, it was focusing on an active tool that you can use for reframing psychological disempowering beliefs. This is an active tool that you can use for reframing psychologically disempowering beliefs. You can use this whenever you want, on whatever level disempowering belief you're struggling with. Now, the deeper and more challenging it is, the more time it will take, and the more coach facilitation support you probably need. But at least for the purposes of this session, you need to learn a little bit about it. So I'm going to ask you all to extend for let's say a 10-minute extension. For those of you that must leave on time at 3 p.m., which is 5 minutes from now, just raise your hands or just drop me a chat, and that's fine. For those of you that can stay 10 minutes extra, please do. I usually allow for a little bit extra time for those that can stick around to do some of this additional work. Okay, so the work that we're going to do is work through different beliefs and values based on this hierarchy of belief. This is based on work from behavioral modeling referred to as NLP, and that's also used by Dr. Van Tharp. So that's something I specialize in, something he's done for a long time, and that's the primary source if you want to know for reference. The questions you need to be asking yourself, and Cosmin has a screenshot of it ready to help in his team, which is great. Ask yourself these 6 questions, and please take a screenshot if you can with your phone, because you will likely need it for your session, which we're going to do any moment. Question number 1, is this a deliberate chosen belief? You've got to start with a disempowering or negative belief, something that's holding you back on the trade journey. Is this a deliberate chosen belief, or did someone give it to you? You've got to find the author. Is it yours or is it someone else's? In the case of Jan, if I can say, it was something that he inherited from his parents, and so that was more of a family heritage. In some other cases, it's something that maybe you created yourself based upon your life experiences. So author that experience. It's important to know what the root source is. 2, what happens when you have that belief? You need to identify the impact. So the second question is an impact question. Question 3, what would I be without this belief? This is where you remove the shackles and you kind of think, okay, if I were to take off that 20 kilogram weight from my shoulders, how would that change me? What would that do? Think about it. And then question 4, is this belief useful? So an obvious question to ask. Naturally, it probably isn't that useful, but to some people it is. It depends on the belief. If not, then you can usually change it by replacing it with a more useful belief. Otherwise, you can maybe work on volume levels, turn the volume down on the belief if you think it's useful, but maybe not at that loud volume level that it might be at. Then finally, 5 and 6, you just need to reframe. This is the main punchline. Reframe. What is the more useful belief? You need to reframe it with a new belief. And then 6, just to share some insights from this exercise. Okay. Now, just to be clear, these are not action steps. This is a psychological process which requires a deep dive. We only have 10 minutes to go through this, so it's 5 minutes each way, and maybe less time if you're in groups of 3. So keep it authentic, but be brief and clear to the point, and understand that this is a process. It's not an action step strategy. That's logical mind, not subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is deeper and requires more reflection. Okay, we're all back. Great. Okay, so I want to be brief because we're clearly over time, and I don't want to overextend any more than we already have. Quick shares. If you can give me kind of one sentence outcomes. So what the disempowering belief was and what the outcome is. So Pierce, are you with us?
Yeah, my one sentence would be mindset is key.
What was your disempowering belief?
The one I shared in the group chat. Trading. Sorry, I'm kind of lost. Sorry, is the one I shared in the group chat? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Sorry, I'm reverting back to our conversation from last week. Yeah, so if you can bring it back to what it was before.
Mindset is key. Is that the one I shared in the breakout room there?
Mindset is key. Okay, thank you. So that was the reframe. Nicholas?
Yeah, we didn't really get that far. I was listening to Jan, but I think I need to work more with my belief in the psychology. Like, this is my first session, so yeah, be more used to that.
Well done. You just had a rude awakening experience.
Yeah.
Deep dive, day 1. So at least you had kind of maximum impact. So well done on playing all out, even though it's the first session. But hopefully you would have kind of felt welcome with the team, the trading buddy environment. We're all here to learn, and the best way to do that is just to get stuck in and practice.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Thank you. Okay, Callum, you're a seasoned Alphachain student. What was your disempowering belief?
Obviously, when I was hitting the drawdowns and stuff, is just getting the fear, and like you were talking about swapping out belief systems, and we just sort of chatted a bit about that. And I've just now sort of encompassed the fear as my friend, and it just seems to work every time. But I have to trick myself into it as well. I have to sort of, because I was saying to Rashid, I have to sort of just throw the baby out in the bathwater and just sort of go for it instead. And I'm nearly out of my second drawdown now, so I'm quite happy about that. Took a little bit longer this time, but still, it happened.
Takes the time that it takes. A famous question: how long does it take to be coached and to get from A to B? It takes the time that it takes. So,
have an overnight success.
Yeah, well done. Okay, so I like that go for it outcome at the end, and try and nail it down into a practical strategy that you can then employ, whether it's psychological or market related. Okay, Jan, no, Leo. Let's Leo, because I'm choosing names of people that were not here last week. Leo, what was the disempowering belief for you?
I think I have to be more practice.
Practice.
Yeah.
But what was the disempowering belief?
Probably more work on psychology as well.
And if you can give me that statement, what was the psychological statement that was holding you back in trading?
To be honest, that was far, because that was in 2018 when the big crash happened, especially with cryptos. I really passed that stage, I would say.
And if you can rewind back then, just for the purpose of the exercise, what was the
giving up stage? Yeah, it was the big crash. That was it.
Right. So it was a sense of giving up.
Yeah.
You've moved from that giving up stage.
Yeah. And I learned how to make money and to take profit from that as well. So yeah, there's always a way to make profit.
Not that. Always a way to make profit.
Yeah.
The lessons I've heard from some successful traders is, well, stay alive. And then, of course, keep on keeping on, where you're actually just continuing to build on the momentum of your progress and your performance. Okay, I think that's everyone in terms of the new people. Rashad and Jan, any final words of insights from that session?
Oh, so with mine, my belief is basically the mountain of trading is too difficult to climb. So that's the belief that I have.
Great. And the reframe?
Reframe is that, all mountains are climbed one step at a time.
Love it. Mike, I should have started with you because Mike and I were in the group because I think we had some tech issues. Yes, sorry. So thank you, Rashad. And over to you, Mike. Yeah, thank God. Because we were together, my mind's been playing trick for me. Please.
That's all right. How do we put it? You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Okay, and if you can expand on that for those that weren't in the session that you and I were in.
Basically changing a mindset from investing to trading.
Everyone get that loud and clear? Yeah. So I want you to keep in mind that even when you have experience, there's a certain change in conditioning that is required, especially when you're shifting market environments or method. And as I understood from Mike, you were managing people that were investing.
Yes.
And now you're plugged into the alpha performance side of it.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I don't care if the markets go up or if they go down. I just want movement in one direction or the other.
Right. Wonderful. And so the reframe so the old statement, can't teach an old dog new tricks. The mindset shift from investing to trading. What's the reframe?
Adapt to change.
Adapt to change. Mike basically is hitting on the Darwinian strategy. Evolution is key.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that remember, about a month ago, there was a session on successful trading and the importance of adapting to change. So I'm going to stop on that and ask for all of you to share your insights on Slack. I know it's a little bit of a extra task, but if you can, it can be really brief or it can be long form, whatever you feel in the moment. But please, if you could just write a sentence or more on Slack after the session today, if possible, or later on in the week, just as a record of the work that we've done, and then hopefully a deep dive reflection opportunity for you later on. Okay, thank you all.
Awesome.
High five from me. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Ron.
Cheers. Callum, Rashad, Cosmin, and Gavin, I think, if he's still here. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ron. Have a good one.
Welcome. Welcome.
See you guys. Have a great week. Take
And
care.
you guys. Bye-bye.
Yes.